Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 6 of Facecheck. It is week 3 of the LCS, halfway through the new and improved 2021 format. Your boy dGon here with Dom and LS breaking down all the action in the LCS and around League of Legends in general, the competitive space. We're at the halfway point, guys, and it's the first time, Freak actually said this, it's the first time ever that we hit the halfway point and it's actually the end of a week. It's not like, all right, yeah, it's the middle of a week and we got to turn it around. How were your streams? Dom, how was your stream this past weekend?
Oh, it was pretty good. I mean, I got to lose my mind over NA as usual, and we got some special bangers. You know, in the entertainment industry, I feel like you don't get much better than that Golden Guardians 100 Thieves game. You know, you got everything. You got the pauses. You got the Tristana refusing to auto attack. You have Golden Guardians playing to their only loss condition possible by grouping up on top of Rel Oriana ult. You have bad itemization. You have the game being spoiled by cams at the end of a 50-minute game. It was like all there in that game, so I had a great time.
Oh yeah. LS, how was yours? What was your standout Fiesta game of the week?
I mean, I think the Golden Guardians game definitely takes the cake. I've never seen such a useless Tristana performance in my life, so that one had to probably just be the highlight. But overall, I mean, my co-streams felt really nice. This was, I think this was the best I've ever felt co-streaming in terms of not being super agitated or just irritable during the stream. So that was it was nice.
Was Crowny there for your co-streams?
Crowny was not there. Nemesis
Yeah,
was
that's
there
probably why.
sometimes. No,
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
That's my boy. I don't know. I've been flaming Crowny so much recently. I'm sorry.
All right. There it is. So that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe LS will finish this point. I was like, no, we're shitting on Crowny and moving on. Sorry, Crowny. We love you. Kind of, maybe. Damn, dude. It was a good week. It was a good week for games, a good week for matches. I think that day 2, Dash was the one that tweeted out all these games are between teams that are one spot away from each other. And we also got that living proof that Dash is a national treasure, needs to be protected with the his interviewing skills on Sunday. That was some good stuff. He basically conducted a fantastic interview there with another AD carry groomed by Afromu Dignitas. And so let's pull up these scoreboards to see where everyone lands and maybe a little bit of surprise who we see at the top with Cloud9 first place, losing into first place, but at the end of the week, but still first place. But then 100 Thieves, Dignitas, and TSM. Surprising, Dignitas and TSM still up there after a very tough week 1 start, and they were able to keep the momentum that they built up from week 2 into week 3. LS, I want to get your thoughts on what you see from this scoreboard overall as we now hit that halfway point. Cloud 900 Thieves, Dignitas, TSM, all in that 1 and 2nd place positions, with EG and TL bringing up the rear.
I mean, look, let me tell you, there's something that I thought about instantly when I looked at the standings, right? Where you have Dignitas randomly 6-3, and it reminded me of, you know, like the meme where there's like a dolphin and there's a cow right next to each other, and they're both in the water and they're both just like jumping out, and like the cow is like pretending to be a dolphin. People used this before. It was famous for like the season 8 challengers and season 9 diamonds just together. This is what I thought about when Dignitas ends up in the top of the standings. Like, they're just there. They're like, yeah, we're a top team too. They're not a fucking top team. We can see straight through that shit. They're a cow pretending to be a dolphin. So this is exactly what I was what I was thinking about when I see Dignitas, man. This is just the best way to interpret them.
Well, yeah, I don't know how to feel about Dig. I know that I tweeted about that it looked like, so I talked with some people about what I speculated is obviously going on, and what I think is that all of Dignitas's players probably think that like they're a second away from just not being an LCS.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we know about what happened with Dardoch in the off season, right? So like what I'm hypothesizing is that there's like a camaraderie there where they all have a mutual interest in mind that doesn't have to do with job security like a lot of NA players. So deflection of blame or responsibility taking and stuff, I imagine is at a greater high within that team, which is also leading to just better teamwork and cohesion, which is actually letting them topple these teams, which clearly are all over the fucking place.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel like it's really hard because obviously, like, they're doing better than expected for sure. And like, maybe to me, I think that they're going to probably end up like 6th. I think that 100 Thieves, TSM, EG, TL, C9 will still be better teams. But I think that FlyQuest has been looking a lot worse than expected. I could see them placing higher than FlyQuest, Immortals, Golden Guardians, and CLG, and being like last place in going into like the 16 playoffs for MSI. But I mean, when you look at Dignitas, they win in ways where I feel like it's not easily able to be replicated, and that to me is like really worrying, right? Like you look at the game versus EG that they won last week, where EG just lose their fucking minds, and like Jizuke is just running it straight down mid for like half the game. You have the game versus TSM where TSM just forced objective after objective in Dignitas's face. They lose 2 smite steals and lose the game. Like these are not ways where you come out of it as Dignitas, you're like, damn, we can do that same thing next time. Like I don't know how good they're going to be at like executing their drafts, because in my mind, the game versus TSM, they actually like fucked up their win con really, really heavily when they ended up losing first Drake, and they're losing fights in the early game with Kalista Alistar and versus Corki. Like I feel like if you lose early game versus Corki, and you have Kalista Alistar on your team, you're just going to get mega outscaled in most situations, assuming the enemy team doesn't like Baron in your face in 20 minutes and like doesn't let you steal Dragon and completely lose their minds.
Yeah, we'll definitely be diving into that matchup in a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the teams there on the bottom of the standings. You know, I guess Immortals has had signs of life here. The Jose Dioto buff, how long is that going to last there for FlyQuest? And then Golden Guardians eking out a win, pretty ecstatic over that win over 100 Thieves. And CLG, I have a long time CLG fan, a buddy of mine, who said these losses for CLG don't feel as bad as the ones from last year, where the ones from last year there was zero hope and it was pretty pathetic, and this year they're in positions to at least throw and do so.
How fucking sad is that CLG, a team that should like by namesake be a top team in the league, is 1-8, and CLG fans don't even feel bad about it anymore. They're like, yeah, it's a pretty good season. Like 1-8 so far, but it's going pretty well. Like that's fucking crazy, dude. This team used to be winning championships. Now 1-8 doesn't even feel that bad. That's crazy, dude. It's so insane. What the fuck?
I think the point is that there's abilities to learn from the games. When you're just getting run over, it doesn't feel like you can learn anything. I just want to make sure that's.
But to me,
maybe sure it's not that much better, but
sure. My issue with that is like, who the fuck is the one that's supposed to be learning from these games, right? Like they have 1 rookie on their team and they have 4 like very veteran players. You look at everyone else. Brox has literally been in World Finals. This is his 5th year as a pro player, not a new player by any means. Smoothie's been playing since season 6. So this is his 6th year as a pro. Then you have Wild Turtle, who's been playing forever, super veteran. Finn's been playing for 2 years now, competitively, or like at tier 1 leagues. So why does this team have such bad decision making around objectives? Like, why are they decent early game and then losing every game by decision making when they have a bunch of veteran players that should be able to work out these problems in game? That's my issue with them. Is they have a team that should be the opposite of what they are, where they shouldn't have great early game compared to like a lot of the young, new mechanical talents, but they should be better at making decisions throughout the game and be getting wins off being smarter. Like they don't look like a smart team to me. They look like a kind of good early game team that doesn't know how to win. Which is similar to something like Golden Guardians, where Golden Guardians is a new team of full rookies.
Right, and we saw that lack of macro display in their game of 100 Thieves versus that they had against 100 Thieves, where it was like, okay, how do we close it out? I think to your point there, Dom, it kind of feels like the players that they have over in CLG right now are a bunch of players that understand micro, or maybe like, you know, macro shot calling within their lane in the early game, but then it always falls apart later on, doesn't it? It's always like happening around like, you know, 15 to 20 minutes after they have a lead. And that's why we get all these, like, there's no way CLG is going to throw this one, right? And then I just have to look at like Raz's tweets. I just look at the tweets for the CLG games, and it's basically the same arc, like, oh, depression. And it gets us every time, doesn't it, LS?
I mean, CLG's games. I mean, I think the reason, like you mentioned earlier on, about fans don't feel as bad about their losses is because they're genuinely in really, really winning game states, and then they just make horrendous decisions that lead to them losing the games. I mean, even yesterday's game, they're in a winning game state before Smoothie goes for the Leroy Jenkins, and then RJS attempts to follow up, and then they just lose the game. Like
what about that
the
Corky package? Holy shit! I was like, holy, like I know we're talking imports, but Larson's already been imported. What the hell is this package, man? It's so crazy.
looking like Nemesis right there with that package. But
Oh no.
that one, yeah, I don't know. I feel a lot better. So in a weird turn of events, I mean, I feel like CLG finds themselves in better spots, even sometimes after like poor early games, than some of the other teams in the league that are obviously way higher than them. And I remember I tweeted out that I think it's harder to get into those spots than it is to blunder them. The blunders are more easily fixable than actually arriving at the spot that they're in the first place. So it's kind of weird. There's only 3 weeks left, right, of regular spring split. So there's probably not much chance to turn it around. But I don't think that they'll actually be 10th or 9th place team when all is said and done.
Yep.
Over in
I mean,
summer.
I just feel like for you, like, why do you think they're constantly blundering when they have so many veterans and they get into such winning game states?
I mean, I think veteranship doesn't actually have anything to do with it. I think that because just because you've played the game for a while doesn't mean that you actually have any awareness of what's going on, right? I mean, most pro players don't even know stuff about other lanes in the first place, right? And like comprehensive macro, well, like we can talk about it on a rudimentary level. If like metas and champions and all these other things change, I mean, those are ultimately variables that are changing, and they might not know how to. I don't know.
I mean, I guess for me, like what I would say is like it doesn't seem like the way that they're blundering is like a very like new age specific things that are happening to them.
Right,
It feels
right.
like that like they simply go to like barons and stuff, and then they just don't know if they should turn or finish it, or like when they should start it, or like how they should side, like all this stuff where I feel like experience should be super valuable, because like at the end of the day, like you get into a baron situation, right? And there's like 3 things you can do, right? You like you run away, you peel off baron, and you turn and you play for the fight, or you finish baron and then you leave, right? Like there's only like a couple options you actually have, a few options you actually have. So why do they always select the wrong one to me? Like that is the question I keep on asking myself. And then it just starts making me feel like these players don't actually like have good understanding of the game, and that they were just led by other people on their teams. Because I mean, when you look at the team, right? You have 3 players that just went to Worlds last year, right? Turtle, you got fucking you got Bjergson who just went to Worlds, Finn that just went to Worlds. You have like people that were on successful top teams, and it feels like none of that is carrying over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like you don't have that one authoritative voice that has all the answers in game at all points in time of the game, right? I think it was at some point of his career, it felt like maybe that was Smoothie, and Smoothie was the one that would be the one that could lead them through a game, but it just doesn't seem to happen, especially when Smoothie's the one kind of making these mistakes or misengages or whatever. So where's our CLG fans? Any CLG fans in the chat that are gonna?
There are no
hopeful?
CLG fans.
Those
They're coming. They're coming.
Those don't exist. I don't know if you've seen the CLG Twitter account. When they tweet, they're like, "Great game for us. We'll see you guys next week." It's like 30 likes in 17 hours. It's like, oh my god, what happened here, man?
Hold on.
Like, I'm telling you,
they got 26.
I'm looking for one. If someone hits me with a high smiley, they're
good.
on
Like
episode.
when teams normally like
scrolling chat.
They tweeted 15 hours ago. Good games, evil geniuses. Rough week, but we will be back. 36 likes. Like normally these have thousands of likes from like team accounts when they tweet this type of shit. Right, 36 actually.
Yeah, I don't know where. I remember I had talks with this with Hotshot GG at some point like last summer, right? Where I didn't know what was going on with the account, right? Because I don't know how this happens. I don't know how the Twitter account falls off so hard. But also, I don't know how to necro it. I have no idea how you go about necroing something like this.
Just go new account, man. Honestly, like literally just buy Riot Cassidon's fucking Twitter account and just have him just tweet out random like irrelevant league memes, and you'll probably just do better.
Well,
That's my take.
let's just say to CLG. And I found one. I scrolled through the chat. We have one. It was Chum V. So Chum V, the lone CLG fan here on Facecheck, confirmed live. All right.
Okay, cool.
One thing
That takes balls too. You got to put respect on that. Like outing yourself as a CLG fan, like that is something that you have to respect. It takes a lot of bravery.
Yeah, and that's why we called that one out for him. Let's take a look at a big piece of conversation that was around the LCS. It started with like rumors from a reporter saying, "Hey, look, some of the owners don't like this move. CLG tried this move and import some talent, and hasn't worked too well for him." But there's a lot of talk around the import rule and removing it, and it basically like caught fire and everyone had a take. So we all had takes here about the import rule till it reached a head here where Vulcan basically shouted it out to the ether, making a claim. Where is it? If you want a full import team, go buy a team in that region, ? XD. Vulcan has had some banger tweets this week for our tweet of the week, but that wasn't it. Reggie was like, "Oh, he is definitely talking about me. Ignorant tweet. If every LCS team left the LCS, you'll be out of a job, buddy, and probably paid minimum."
It's so insanely condescending. It's like, you little fucking player, bitch, buddy. Like, it's like, I hate the way he talks to like to people like Vulcan. But the other thing is, like, obviously the reason why people wouldn't do what Vulcan's saying is because they're trying to get an easy world slot. So like they'd rather, like, if you're like a 9th place team from China, you probably have a better chance getting top 3 and going to worlds here than trying to like knock out FPX or some shit within LPL. So the reason why teams wouldn't do what Vulcan's saying is because they're trying to get easy world slots. They're not just trying to like, improve the region or something.
Wanted to get your
I mean, there's a lot of people that think that Reggie's like memeing and all this
no
other
way.
stuff, right? But I mean, yeah, I saw a lot of people saying that, and I thought that was very strange. But I don't know.
Man, it's like when somebody says something really wrong, and then they just like they're in your chat, and then at the end they're like, "Oh, I was just fucking baiting." You just thought that I was fucking stupid like that. But that's actually like, why would you tweet this out as a meme in such a sensitive subject right now? Like, that would be incredibly tone deaf. Like, this is something that he means for sure. And also, his position, right? Like, all the owners want this rule lifted. So why would he then meme this? It doesn't make sense. It's the opposite of his actual position.
Right. And for context for everyone, this is the first year that the amateur system that is put in place that has like a robust kind of backing behind it, as well as an academy system, as well as all the retirement, all these pro players. So it felt like, hey, there's a need now to find a structure for the North American player base to give hope to high challengers, to give hope to players to move up into the LCS and have a shot. And we're not even we're in February. We're 2 months into the season, into the year, and we're already talking about dismantling it and just getting imports and allowing teams to do whatever they want. And so it's just been a very, very big topic. And it just, in my opinion, just doesn't make sense. Like, you just put this system in place. We know that the NA talent pool hasn't been great, but we also know that the environment for the NA talent pool hasn't been great either. And we finally put something in place, and before we even have a chance to let it run, we're already talking about removing it. That just feels so contradictory, doesn't it?
I don't know, Les, what's your take on this import rule thing?
I mean, I think that they're so I come from 2 different angles, right? Because I saw import and I saw region locking, right? This happened in StarCraft 2. And in StarCraft 2, it was hailed as a saving of the foreign scene. The problem is that the top foreigners, except for a few, would very often basically go to Korea, practice in Korea anyway, and then still play in their regional leagues, and they would dominate those regional leagues. It wasn't until several years of region locking, Korea crumbling, Korean teams going away, dissipating, etc., that I'm saying foreigners because that's the word in StarCraft 2. Western players in StarCraft 2 started beating Koreans. I think that there's actually a Western player right now that's undefeated in his group at the StarCraft major going on right now, like as we're doing the show. And while region locking was hailed and regarded as a positive thing, it ultimately killed. I mean, I think it was I think it did hurt StarCraft 2 in some ways. The other thing on the other side of the coin, though, I think that if you're a team or you're a business, it's in your best interest to try to form the best possible team that you can. And the idea that America should, or North America, whatever the region, should have an import restriction just so that citizens or resident, of Canada, North America, Mexico too, right? It's not an import. Is Mexico an import?
No, I think it
It's
is.
not.
I think it is.
It
It's
is.
not.
That's weird.
I didn't think it
Well,
was.
maybe Mexico is fine.
Yeah.
I know that
Okay.
like most South
I mean,
American.
it's part of the North American continent, so like
I'm looking.
Yeah.
looking,
I would
I'm
imagine.
looking.
Okay. But anyways, I think it's strange that they be guaranteed participation even if they're not good enough compared to other players that might be free agents or be available. So I think that there's both sides of the coin. I even asked my grandmother on this. I asked Wolf
Yeah.
during one of my coach streams.
So the thing
And-
that I think is
yeah.
like, I mean, I just want to say like the thing that I think is so funny here is how people like high roading and being like, man, I love watching NA talent. Like people say that shit, right? Like the popular opinion is to be like, yeah, we need to like develop our talent. Like it's so good what like these teams are doing, investing in North American talent, whatever. But in reality, it seems like people just want to watch like the best games. And the teams that from the perceived top 5 teams and the teams that get the most viewership, e.g., TL, C9, TSM, and 100 Thieves, from those teams, there's only 6 actual native players from NA from NA
Right.
on those teams. So there's only 6 out of 25 of the players on the teams
Right.
that people actually watch. So
Right.
I think what people don't want is they don't want these full teams of like completely nameless, like faceless, like challenger Korean players, challenger Chinese players that we've never heard of coming to the league. But a lot of the imports are the most popular players that we have in our league. You know,
Right.
like that's the other thing. Like players like Core JJ are infinitely more popular than players like Niles or Iconic or a Blaze Olive. So the thing is, like people think it's fun to like be like, yeah, dude, I love NA talent. But then when like the proof is in the pudding, like more people fucking will watch the imports that are higher quality like players than will watch like these native NA players. So for me, I feel like people think that, you know, imports automatically equals like you're not going to feel connection with them. But I mean, one of the most popular players in our region historically was Bjergson, and he was an import. So like, I don't know, man. I feel like people won't hate the import rule as much. Like if they remove the import rule, I don't think that people will hate LCS as much as they think they'll hate LCS. But then my other part of it is like, I want the import rule to stay because I just think for the optics, it's good.
So you are truly about the optics and not about the development of.
Yeah, like I don't
NA
actually care, but I mean, dude, it's already a fucking import league. What? Like out of the teams that we sent we sent to like fucking Worlds, right? Like how many of them are actual NA players? Like I don't know.
The other thing
Usually
about
the
this
minimum
is,
3, right? Or like sometimes 2.
Well, no, there's less, right? Like because you look at because now the whole game isn't about having, you know, 3 NA players and 2 imports. The whole game is getting as many national players or players that have residency as possible so that you can get more imports. So like a team like TL, right? Core JJ, import. Jensen, import. Like sure, Jensen has residency. Sure, Santorin has residency. Okay, they're not technically imports anymore because of that, but they're imports. They're not North American like players that grew up here. Like those are fucking imports. So 4 out of 5 on TL was imports last year. 4 out of 5 on TL is imports this year, and people just don't really see them like that because they've known the players for a while.
Right. So, but is there more affinity to the fact that they've gone through and put in their time in the region, like Impact, like Santorin, like Jensen, like Bjergson did, that they were here and spent 3 or 4 years, and then we claim them as our own because they showed a longevity to the scene. They showed a longevity to it, something that LMQ back in season 3 for all you or season 4 for all you kids that don't know your league history, your LCS history, didn't do. After LMQ lost, they were gone. They were out, right? Everyone dipped. They went through the proper channels, and
Yeah, but
full credit to them, but they were out after that.
So think about that though. A team of what everyone considered like no names, like that had no branding, whatever. People started liking LMQ. Like people were huge fans of Xiao Xiao. Like I played against the guy all the time, right? And every single interview this guy had, it was just spammed with like, this guy is a fucking treasure. Look how cute he is. Like I love Xiao Xiao. You know, he just looks so happy. I just want to hug him. Like that was like the whole thing around him, right? People love Vasily. Like the whole Lomo cat thing. Like you can grow attachment to players that that are literally what people are scared of. Like LMQ is what people are scared of. And honestly, I don't remember that many people that were outraged when our native players, myself, Voyboy, Cop, X Special, lost an import or lost a world slot to 5 imports. You know, like we were better than every NA team besides for TSM and C9. And then the team came straight from China. They ended up just taking like our world slot. They ended up beating us 3-2 narrowly. And people didn't seem very outraged about the fact that they were imports at the time. People were kind of just like, oh, well, sucks. Can't believe they got reverse swept. Like, cue the fucking memes. Like, no one actually like gave a fuck. So I don't know. It just is what it is.
Yeah. I would say that people were less upset with LMQ and more upset with TL fourth meme and NA in general at that point. So I agree with that.
The other thing is you're just delaying the inevitable. Eventually, people that are still imports right now aren't going to be imports for much longer, and then more imports are just going to be coming in.
Yeah, I mean,
so I don't,
like PoE is going to be a resident soon, right? Like he's going to gain residency soon. So when he gains residency, Sven's going to gain residency soon. So what's going to happen? Like, I mean, look. Oh, and then people like kind of get hung up on technicalities. Like, yes, I know that OCE players are no longer considered imports, but they're not from North America. Like they're still actually imports. So just because like Riot no longer deems them imports, I don't think there's any difference between them and like, you know, somebody that's representing a different country. And I don't have a problem with that either. I'm just saying that it's just not something where I look at it and I'm like, oh shit, like we need more players that, you know, represent myself. Oh, they're from like Australia, which is like, I mean, I guess they speak English there, so I guess it's more familiar to people, but in reality it's still like, it's still another place. They're still imports.
Interesting. I think I just land on the other side of that as a fan. It's like, hey, I want to see people that I know their struggle and I know that represent North America and have put in time to represent North America, unless you're one of the imports, one of your 2 import slots, and give an opportunity to build up. Like that's what I want. I want us an opportunity to build up new talent, new pipelines, whether it's an amateur, whether it's collegiate, academy. There's so many pipelines that we could theoretically be making with players, give them an opportunity to play, an opportunity to grow. I will say though that you would know better, right? You're the one that plays with them, Dom. You're the one that is up in Challenger and gets to see those guys and if they're going to be good or not. But
I mean, I think the main thing is like, is like people will have that take, but they don't actually. It's not like the practice isn't in, like if people wanted that, then people would rather watch. Like there would be way more people watching Golden Guardians games, for example, right? Like most Golden Guardians games, they're throwing them at the end of the day because no one like actually wants to watch like when Golden Guardians plays, and like that's the level of what you're gonna get. Yeah, you can get more games like that, but people aren't gonna fucking watch. Like people don't have the patience to sit through it.
Right, the Patriots are the minority.
All right, well, there you go. Our import kind of conversation. It will continue to rage on. And the way that I figure this happens is that these LCS owners, they feel a certain type of way. And the LCS League, maybe Riot Central is like, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep these rules in place for now because we have put in place all this amateur and collegiate infrastructure for the future. Because while I was there, it was very important. It was an initiative to find ways to build up the grassroots of League of Legends so that it remained a full-time sport. So we'll keep that conversation going. Cool. Let's turn our focus to some of the matches this week over in the LCS. Let's start with one of the teams that is represented by the owner on the screen right now, TSM and 100 Thieves. That was the beginning of the week where we're like, whoa, good TSM. They're good. They understand macro. They're making smart decisions. Coach Bjergson maybe is the true answer here. as TSM was able to defeat 100 Thieves at that time and take down a big notch on 100 Thieves that had only lost one game up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. I feel like 100 Thieves is one of the teams that didn't that didn't really like adapt super well to the meta. Like I feel like Olaf is kind of a bait right now. They nerfed him pretty hard in 11.3. It wasn't just like the fact that champions changed or whatever, or like, yeah, I mean, the champion directly received a lot of nerfs, and it feels like they're kind of like playing some weird team comps. Also, 100 Thieves, you just got to like say what it is. They just can't play control mages mid. They're never gonna win. They're never gonna win games against people like PoE, people like Perkz, people like Jensen, if they're playing control mage versus control mage. They have to just like try to make plays and, you know, cover that weakness. I think Demonte is going to get exposed eventually. Like all of his like his Ori play just isn't it.
And isn't that interesting? Isn't that like there's a show last week that said the same exact thing and then they pick into it and lose to TSM? I wonder
And Golden
where
Guardians, by the way. And
yeah, that's right.
Like, that's how fucking bad. That's how fucking bad they look when they play like Orianna and shit like that. They can't even beat Golden Guardians. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. Demonte has his strengths, but he's like, you need to just accept that you have Demonte on your team and like let him counter pick or let him pick weird mages, like not the meta mage. Like if they pick Azir, then you let Demonte play like Ziggs or something, you know, like that's where I feel like they can actually gain an edge. If they're going straight like fucking Azir Orianna or like Orianna blinds and stuff like that, it's just, they're not going to win. But yeah.
I mean, I think 100 Thieves. If you look at all of their drafts, I mean, there are 100 sins for a reason. I mean, they have to win early on. If they try to deviate from that at all, then they end up losing. I think that their early record start and their standing in the league is inflated. I don't think it's gonna end up remaining the way that it is. With their play and the way that they go about everything, and I don't think that's going to change. If you look at, so I think that this is something that's integral to their foundation. That it might have something to do with the coaching staff, because if you go back in time at 100 Thieves drafts, I mean, it's the same MO the entire time. It's all just win lane or attempt to win lane champion picks predominantly, right, with very little upside, very little late game. And they play predominantly for early and mid, and they either get advantages or they don't. And so I don't know what they're gonna be hoping to do the longer the split ends up going on. Because I think that other teams that are doing different things will end up passing them. I think TSM, if they keep looking the way that they did, except for the game yesterday. I mean, the game yesterday they should have won as well. But I think TSM have been looking way cleaner. In general, and I mean, they seem to be erring on the side of actual progression.
Yeah, I mean, also I feel like these Nidalee picks just aren't it, man. Like I feel like Hecarim, I feel like Skarner, these champions are gonna have really high value next week. I was saying last week how good Skarner was, but I think that it should be even more prevalent in the upcoming week, especially on 11.4. I mean, even though Skarner got hit, none of the ways that he got hit actually matter. He's still going to be super relevant once you get Turbo Chem Tank. And yeah, Hecarim is a champion that, you know, you have way more agency on, and it combos with way more things, right? Like I feel like the ability to team fight is really OP in this region because no one is playing side lanes well. And yeah, I mean, you can still side lane at points in the game, but just having the option of team fighting is always nice. So yeah, I mean, I think that that TSM in general, like their drafts seem to make more sense. Like they don't sabotage their jungler in draft as much anymore. Like at least in this game with Hecarim, like you can see that he has something that we used to call cues, where you know to use your ability based off other abilities that are thrown. So like if you know Rel ult lands, Hecarim can easily just ult on top of it. That's a really easy cue for Hecarim to just be able to use his ulti. So it makes your gameplay more like streamlined, and you don't have to like weigh each situation like as heavily. You can just kind of play off what's happening in the fight. So yeah, I mean, I think that those types of things from TSM are a lot better now.
Yeah, I agree. I think again, up until yesterday, everything had been looking so much cleaner. I mean, TSM was actually looking like almost the cleanest team in the league, barring yesterday's loss. And then yesterday was sort of an anomaly almost across the board. I mean, the Cloud9 draft was also just really weird. It was just very out there. We'll probably talk about that later on, but yeah, I'm much more confident for TSM than I am for 100 Thieves moving forward.
Yeah,
so-
I mean, they also have like the good fundamentals, right? Like their support plays engaged supports, same with 100 Thieves, but their mid laner can play control mages, and at the end of this shit, almost always you're seeing a bunch of Azir, a bunch of Orianna, a bunch of Syndra, a bunch of Victor, a bunch of Corki into the Azir. Like this just becomes the meta almost every single split. So having that as your foundation is significantly better than having like Kiana and like Galio and all these picks that are not always good as your like best champions.
On the TSM side, it felt like, and one narrative that was being pushed a lot is that, oh, Sword Art is starting to come into his zone now and feel a little bit more comfortable. He was playmaking across the map. How much do you feel like TSM's success has also been Sword Art getting around the map? So now he's thinking more macro shot calling across the whole rift rather than just focusing on lane and helping Lost feel okay.
I mean, my take is the person that's been playing that's made the biggest jump in improvement has been Huni. I think Huni's like went from being like a massive liability to now he's actually like TPing first in a lot of situations. He's affecting the map first as a top laner, and he's like getting a lot of outnumbered fights. So I would say like I've seen Huni improve a lot more in the last couple of weeks than I've seen Sword Art improve.
Sword Art doesn't feel like he's an import whenever you watch him play. I mean, he's not playing at that standard. Or he's not playing at that level of play. I mean, he can have a few good engages and like all this other stuff, but the reality is that he's not really that discernible from other people in the league, and that's a really big problem. And I don't think it has anything to do with his teammates or like synergy or cohesion or anything like that. I think it just has to do with never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. Anyways.
Okay.
But I think their drafts have been carrying them really, really hard. And I think that their willingness to not like understand that inaction is action a lot of the times, except for yesterday. I keep referencing yesterday because it's so fucking weird, man. So weird. All they had to do was do nothing, and they would just win. But yeah, they'd been playing a lot very well. But ultimately, I think a lot of stuff on like figuring out like where it actually is or what it's coming from is mostly conjecture because we can't know. And then also, are these like 4 or 5 games where they played really well? Is it just a coincidence? And I guess we'll see that more over the next 3 weeks.
Well, you've referenced it a ton here, so let's dive into said game. TSM versus Dignitas. This is the moment that Dom has been waiting for. We can probably pull up the right graphic of TSM versus Dignitas and then take a look at the draft. But Dom is ready. Let's talk on the Dignitas side first because they did pull out the win. Get to tweet out the McDardock meme and make Reggie say something. No, some sort of tweet that was like, "No trolling, actually putting together a great roster of talent." But yeah, what did we think of the Dignitas versus TSM matchup on the Rift? Dom, I'll let you go first here before we dive into the mechanics of what you want to go into.
Okay, so I mean, first off, I actually feel like the Dignitas draft was not very good. Like, I think that picking Skarner there as one of your last picks is like probably one of the worst situations you can get Skarner in. I mean, you're playing directly into Olaf, which is probably your biggest counter in the meta. You have to play through bot prio, and you have to try to make sure that you end up getting like early drakes in order to win this game. They didn't. I mean, obviously there's other things like if the enemy team starts Baron, but it's actually really hard for you to get a meaningful advantage in side lane here. And normally that's kind of what you want versus Lulu. Like Lulu in teamfights is going to outperform most top laners. So the answer is normally trying to split because of the item she builds. She's not very good in 1v1 situations. And yeah, like that is normally how you take advantage of this pick. I feel like if TSM didn't just randomly like start every objective in Dignitas's face and played a little bit of a slower game, like they didn't even have QSS on Corki. Like they can keep on scaling here. Like there's no timer that's on them, but it felt like they were really, really panicked to do stuff in the game. Obviously Lulu TP'd out randomly around like 20 minutes, and because she had no TP, then they grouped and tried to do the Baron. But I feel like the game could just be played a lot slower from TSM in general, especially considering that they got the first Drake and were winning fights bot side that they shouldn't have been winning. But yeah.
All right, I'll pick it up. Yeah, I mean,
Is
so
dGon
obviously,
AFK?
yeah, I didn't know if there would be a segue or whatnot. We got the delay on the video, so I didn't. All right,
Yeah.
it's fine. No, I mean, I agree with you. Dignitas's draft was really bad. I don't know what B2 B3 Callista Alistar is. I think that's really fucking weird. I don't know why they're handshaking melee engaged champions when TSM opens R1, R2, Olaf Rel, showing that they have to now engage into Dig. And Dig was already well positioned with B1 Azir. And then TSM handshakes it rather than like recalibrate draft with R3 Samira. So like I think like the first 3 picks on both sides were just blunder city. And then TSM picks up Corki and they retain counterpick for top lane. And then randomly there's a fucking Skarner being picked and then a random blind Gnar when Gnar can't be blind. There's too many champions that are open that just mess up Dignitas's draft here. I mean, Gangplank's really powerful against all their champions. Azir Callista can't play the game. Skarner can't play the game. Beats Gnar in laning phase if you're human. And then Malphite is even insane here. Mal beats Gnar in lane, messes up Callista, has access
It's so
to
hard
Azir.
to play Callista into Malphite.
It's so hard, right? So there's too many picks that are just fucking available that you can turn your brain off and play, right? So like Huni can obviously play all of these. Lulu is another good champion. And then in the actual game, I mean, there's some like laning phase stuff, right? But the really big throws come at like 850. They're super far ahead. They opt into the Rift Herald fight rather than just Spica just continuing to go to his golems and then resetting and pathing back bottom to beat his jungle camps and allowing everything to just go as normal. And then 1435, they're trying to get vision for no reason. 1738. Lost just makes a huge macro blunder. He should just push wave, go golem, eat golem, go back wave, push wave, reset, and then go Drake. But for some reason, they're dicking around in enemy's blue side jungle for 0 reason. Lost is pushing a tier 1 turret like his life depends on it. Like, yeah, congratulations, 500 damage on the turret's really gonna matter. And then there's the Baron play, which Sword Art and Huni both fuck up, locking out Dardoch. So I mean, their comp was way better, way better, but their play was not congruent with all of their games leading up to this one, and they
felt
lost.
panicked.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah.
They really felt like they were the team that was on the timer. Where like normally when you're playing against Skarner, the enemy team is the one that's on the timer, especially when you have champions like Olaf that doesn't have to build QSS. And then you have like a Lulu that's going to be playing really far back in most team fights. And then you have 2 AD carries that itemize QSS very well. So it doesn't really feel bad for a Corki or a Samira to buy a QSS because they can build crit items and yes, it's fine with their normal item build. So this is one thing, man. This is like one thing that I'm going to go off on a little bit. The QMax versus Emax on Skarner. Emax is objectively wrong in this game for the Skarner to go for. I mean, Emax is just pretty much wrong every single time. Like there's almost no situations where Emax would ever be viable. And yeah, I mean, I can just go into some of the reasons why this is true. So the easiest way to start is I can just start on things that everyone can agree on, and then we can go into like the abilities, the differences in the abilities, and then also like how relevant Emax was in this game. So first things first. Okay, so this is everything. These are things that are just objectively true. Any person that's entering this argument could agree on this. So Q is better for clearing the jungle. Obviously, the max percent HP damage is your main source of jungle clearing. It's on a much lower cooldown. It's just the highest damage ability you can get. We can also agree that E has reduced value into Olaf, as Olaf has CC immunity. E has reduced value into Samira as well, because Samira can block skill shots with her W. And then E is a skill shot, which has the potential chance to miss, where Q is not really a skill shot. So yeah, these are just universal truths. Q is also better for doing objectives because it's percent max HP damage, which is really OP on things like Dragon, Rift Herald, Baron, etc. And that Q is a better damage source than E in team fights because you can just spam it and it's up more often. Okay, so here's one concept, and Ellis, you can chime in on this and just give your take. But I'm of the opinion that so the way that CDR works, I think a lot of people don't understand. Like CDR only really matters if you're able to get off another ability in whatever fight you're taking. So if you have a 14-second cooldown ability, if the fight lasts 15 seconds, the difference between a 14-second and a 12-second cooldown is not massive because you're going to get 2 off either way. When you're dealing with low cooldown abilities like Q, CDR actually affects them more because you're able to get more repetitions of your Q off. Also, you just have to look at the scaling of Q. So when you start, if you do the 1-point Q like Dardoch did, you have 2% max HP damage per Q. And if you have it at max rank, it would be 6% max HP damage per Q, assuming that it is charged. And the cooldown gets reduced to 2.5 seconds. Now, another thing that people don't understand is when you auto attack an enemy champion, the cooldown is then reduced by an extra 1 second on top. So it goes from a 2.5 second cooldown when hitting enemy champions to 1.5 cooldown enemy champions. Massive percentage reduction there. Then you have to look at E. So E is so when you upgrade E, the slow goes from 30 to 50%. It's flat damage that increases from 40 to 140 if you hit the first part. A lot of times you're not hitting the second part. If you do hit the second part, it can go up to 250 flat, but it's actually not super relevant. And especially as the game goes on and people build more MR, more armor, whatever, and they have more stats in general, it's better to have percentage HP damage than flat HP damage. The other part of E is that the cooldown goes down from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. So it's a much less, it's a much lower percentage of cooldown that you get back compared to Q. So that's just like, so just inherently Q max is something that is better in most situations. Also, you have to look at the draft from Dignitas here, right? They're drafting the Azir versus the Corki and the Kalista Alistar, which Kalista lane is just going to be played for prio. So they have access to get pretty much the first 2 dragons guaranteed. Most Corki comps, you actually just have to assume that you're going to be giving up the first 2 dragons because of how the champion scales. So Dragon is a win condition. Dragon is something that they should be trying to do. Dragon is something that's soloable by Skarner, and you want Qmax for that situation. Now we can go into like the E's that were landed in the game. So the E usages, these are every single E's that were this is every single E that was landed on an enemy champion during the game. So you used 1 on Olaf, who used ulti, 1 on Lulu and Rel, who are not moving, doesn't proc it on either of them. TSM wins this fight. This was the blue buff invade. And he's not able to proc it on anyone. The second E usage, he used 1 in the Rift Herald fight on an already ultied Olaf. So Olaf already has his ulti active. He uses E, obviously. This is why E has reduced effectiveness into Olaf, is if you ult him if you E him while he's ulting, you don't get any effect out of the slow. You don't get any real effect out of the damage. Q would outperform there as well. There's 1 E that he uses in the bot lane fight when he's trying to gank the Samira under turret. He misses the E, so that's obviously one of the issues that you can miss it. He uses an E on the blue buff fight, the random blue buff fight that LS mentioned. Rel just instantly Ws. He gets no effect out of it there. He uses 1 on Olaf, who ultis in the river fight. He uses 1 on Rel, who had just been comboed by Alistar. This is one of the only ones that you could say could be relevant within the game. Then he uses another 1 on Rel, which is not procced before the fight. He uses this is during the Baron steal. He used 1 on Rel after he Skarner ultied the guy and stole Baron, and it also hits Olaf, who then Ragnaroks, and then he uses another 1 on Olaf, who has his ulti already active, and then he uses 1 on Rel Olaf at Dragon, just trying to like poke and secure the Dragon. He doesn't actually, like, both players are standing still, doesn't get any effectiveness out of the slow. And then he uses 1 on Olaf, who's already an ulti in that same fight. He uses 1 on Samira, which is blocked by Samira W, and then when the game ends, he hits 1 on Corgi. So that gives you a total of 6 E's used on Olaf, 5 during ulti, 6 used on Rel, 1 used on Lulu in a fight that they hard lost, where the Lulu wasn't even moving anyway. Lulu's just standing there auto attacking him, but it did tag him, but he didn't actually proc it. And then 1 on Corgi as they end the game. So out of the 14 E's, which gives you 14 E's that he landed throughout the game, right? Out of the 14 E's that he landed throughout the game, there's only 2 that could be argued as relevant, and this is being argued in good faith. So like if you look at every single E that could potentially hit, there's only 2 that the slow could be potentially considered usable. Everyone else is already CC'd, and obviously, if you max E on Skarner, the duration of the stun remains the same. It's 1.25 seconds static from level 1 to level 5. It's why it's considered a 1-point wonder and why no one maxes this ability anymore. So there's only 2 where the person actually is walking with the slow active, right? So then what you have to do is you have to talk about the time window that he had to use Qs. So in the Baron fight, for example, this can be done for multiple fights, but in the Baron fight, we'll use this one. He lands 11 Qs in 27 seconds of free time to damage, right? Which ends up being 22% max HP damage. During that same time frame, if he had maxed the ability, he could have landed 18 Qs on Olaf during that time frame, which would have been a total of 100% max HP damage. Obviously, the reason why it's 108% is because Olaf has Gore Drinker, W healing, like he's going to be sustaining through it, so he's going to have more than 100% effective HP in a fight. During this fight, his first E was used on a Rel, which he did not proc. The second E was used on Rel after ulti, which he insta-stuns, doesn't have any relevance. And the third one was already used on an ultied Olaf in the fight, so he's just not able to do any like CC or damage. He only lands one on a carry the entire time, and you could in this entire situation, you would be clearing faster. You're hitting your power spikes also. Also, to just fucking top this shit off, man, just to top this shit off, like, I know people are going to use like the appeal to authority argument. They'll be like, but Captain Flowers main Skarner, so he must be right about this. So I ended up reaching out to Zanzara. I got his permission to share this information. I asked him what he thought about the game, and his comments were that he would max Q just for the jungle speed in 1v1. With Emax, Olaf can fully ignore you. With Qmax, you can win 1v1 on Obelisk if Olaf has less than 70% HP. So you can kind of force his ult in 1v1 and retreat with phase rush. Also, your jungle clear is going to be equal to his with a 3 to 5 second difference after your first base. Qmax is better mainly because of CDR boots. You reach enough CDR already on Chem Tank and CDR boots to auto attack Q combo without any delay. So your DPS is massive. And this is from what most people consider the best Western Skarner player currently. So yeah, I mean, you can play this situation on the Parsec if you want. Yeah, we can just bring this up and you can see how relevant the E is in this game. But yeah, I mean, that's like pretty much all I have on it. Like, I could go into every single fight, but I mean, yeah, I think that's enough to prove that Emax is 100% useless in this game. Also, you can, like, if you really value the slow, this is not even considering the fact that at all these points, if you're level 13, you could have Emax second, right? So you could actually have Emaxed for this point in the game anyway. So here, yeah, you can look at this Parsec. Okay, let me just open it up. Yeah, so as you can see, he E's, doesn't proc it. Then he just drags the Rel. Here's the second E that he procs. He insta-stuns the guy. The slow had no relevance. He E's the Olaf there as well. The Olaf just ulties. Here, he's trying to deal damage. Look at how pathetic his Q damage is this whole time on Spica. It's because he has only 1 point of Q. He E's again on the Ragnar on Spica. He gets no value out of it. It's not hitting any carries. So this idea that Emax is better when you're against range champions and Qmax is better when you're against melee champions just doesn't have any relevance in the discussion, because as the game footage shows, you cannot land your E on range champions as Skarner reliably at all, especially when one of the champions has the ability to block it. So that was my fucking presentation. I don't know why anyone was trying to argue this point, but I spent hours just doing all this and reviewing the footage so I could present an argument that hopefully has no holes in it.
Okay, I got it. I'll max E. Jesus.
Shut the fuck up, LS. Oh, I hate it so much, man. I hate it so much.
Like,
I got. That's
it?
it? That's all you got?
Everyone fucking asked, motherfucker.
No. I need to chime in right now. I need to chime in on this though. So this whole like spiel is exactly why it is so insufferable to engage in these things, and people don't realize it, right? Because so this is why I don't like doing it anymore, and why I get really, really annoyed on stream, right? Is because you just had to spend so much time substantiating your initial claim, but the person who made an initial claim doesn't have to do any of that. But then if you don't do what you just did, you're the asshole.
Well, then I'm just wrong, you know? Then it's just like,
or
then it's just like,
yeah,
oh.
I can't deal with it anymore.
You're a jerk.
You're
wrong. Your credibility gets hit.
Right. When you have this conversation with a pro player, you can cut through 95% of that. You know what I mean? Because it's already understood. So you get to just get to the nitty gritty, like, of what's going on. But when you have a conversation with someone that can't entertain practicalities, right? Or they don't understand how certain things will interact with one another, how practical it is, what what certain numbers or like how it impacts certain things are actually going to be, then you have to lay out all this foundation, and it just takes so much time. It's really
Yeah, I
bad.
mean,
I stopped engaging in it. Yeah, it's
well, I mean,
really bad.
like number one, like the main discussion was with like Captain Flowers here, and I reached out to him personally. Like, I'm not trying to like say that Captain Flowers doesn't know anything about the game or anything like that. Like, that's not the point. My point is just to like show how relevant QMax is in pro games. Also, like,
Right.
I looked at Captain Flowers' matches. He actually maxes Q every game, like himself. So he already maxes Q. But like, there's an idea of like, oh, in pro play, the utility of E is more viable than like the ability to just clear your jungle with Q. But what they don't understand is it's actually like the other way around. In a solo queue environment, in a less competitive environment, there could be more chances to land more valuable CC. But as a jungler, the most important thing is that you're
Right.
getting your power spikes on time and you're not falling behind.
Right.
Because
Right,
at the
right,
end of the day, it's not your E that you're relying on, right? Like the thing that Skarner's relying on is turbo chem tank. He wants to get to his turbo chem tank as fast as possible. CDR boots, flash ulti. Like that's the
Right.
value of the champion in pro play. That's
Right.
what you're actually playing for. So you need to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to enable that win condition.
No, and I think it's really good that you went through all of this. So next time I play Skarner, I'll definitely make sure to max
Shut up.
Q second. Personally, I max W. I like how it feels. I like how it feels. I think it's
God.
best. I've survived a couple of dives doing it, so
It was-
personal.
Dude, it was
Yeah.
E into W max this game. Like, so there was E max used to be viable, but they nerfed E. They nerfed the base damage on it. Also, they nerfed the CC. It used to be 1.5 seconds. They lowered it to 1.25 seconds. And then in patch 10.15 is when they made it always good to max Q, where they added percentage damage to your Q. So now it's 6% max HP per Q. Do you know how fucking much that is for a tank? It's part of the reason why Skarner is a good champion. All right, look here. Oh shit. Okay, he landed an E that was QSS instantly. Okay, we're looking at the parsec. All right, look at this one. This is when he could have already had max E. He would have minimum 3 points E at this situation. Okay, he procs. He gets the slow, and maybe that's why PoE dies. Perfect. There it is. That was the flash that we were looking for here. But yeah, I mean, he could have literally had E maxed out by level 15 at this point anyway. Who asked? Bro, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. Like, I don't know. It's so crazy that like just because somebody says something on broadcast, like people will just assume that it's right, or they'll be like, "Oh, well, Captain Flowers main Skarner, so you must be wrong." Like it's so weird to me. Like it's so frustrating too, because it's like I don't actually think that people are willing to do this to try to justify their opinion. It's just they want like the person that plays Skarner to be the authority or something.
I think there's a early on in league with the pro scene, there was an affinity for players being known for champions and players being known as the experts of that. And that's kind of fallen off because as a player, you've had to be a lot more fluid with your picks and fluid with your understanding. And so I think that familiarity and Captain Flowers with Skarner are two things. And it's his job to give context to why a decision is made in the game, right? Because we can't talk to him. We can't talk to Dardog while they're doing it. You can talk to him afterwards and, get an idea there. So I think he kind of had, he felt like, hey, I'm an expert on Skarner. I want to give context to that. And then it led into that type of conversation. And LS, you as a caster understand what that dynamic is like. It's different though, because, you're at that higher level across the board in terms of gameplay.
I mean, the other thing about it is I think a lot of people don't maybe they don't realize this about me personally, but I think that I think most people are no, actually no, the opposite is true. Most people aren't like this. Most people will engage in things that they haven't gone into the nitty gritty of, right? Whereas I think at least I think this about Dom. I don't know if it's accurate. Like myself or Dom, I won't engage in something that I don't. Like I have said this many times on co-streams. If I just don't understand something, this happened with Callista the other day, right? I'm not going to try to hypothesize why it's the case. I think that's ignorant. I mean, I can say that I'm going to hypothesize why, but I won't actually claim that it's why. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, what I would say for me personally is that like I'll potentially like have opinions, that I think are correct, but I'm willing to challenge my own opinions. Like that was the whole point of this. Like I didn't go into this like, let me prove why these motherfuckers are wrong. I went into this more like, am I wrong? Like, let's just fucking see. Let's take all the stats. Let's see how the abilities interact and like what happened in the game and see how much value Emax actually had versus QMax. And I'm like willing to change my opinion if like the math and the stats indicate that I'm wrong. So like, I don't know, man. It's just like, it's really weird to me. Especially considering that like, I also have credentials on the champion. You know, it's not like I just like never fucking played the champion before, or I'm just like talking on my ass, or it's in a role I don't play. Like, so
wait. Before you give that, I'm very interested in what like chat thinks your champ pool was when you played. Like, because now that I stop and think about it, I don't know if I like when you told me your credentials on the champion. I thought it was like, oh, I guess maybe he did that, and then I don't know what your SoloQ like, but like, what do we think? When we think Dom in the jungle, what do we think? Getting a lot of J4, Gragas,
Nunu season 5 was definitely a big one.
Shaco in there, Rek'Sai, definitely Rek'Sai in there as well in terms of your SoloQ. Okay, all right. So I just wanted to give a little bit of context.
So here's a couple of things. So there was a time where I feel like I had a big effect on like I went, you know, like LS and Groomstone. I went on a tirade similar to that about Skarner in season 8. So I actually like hit challenge. I have a video here. I can link it in the fucking chat. So I ended up actually hitting Challenger with 70% win rate playing Skarner. Like I thought it was just absurdly broken. And I don't think it was because I was like an insane player. Like 70% win rate Challenger is like fucking crazy, right? I thought it was because I was playing a broken champion. So I got a lot of players to play Skarner in LCS, had long conversations with them. But actually something that they brought up on broadcast back in season 8 was the first time and the only time that new Skarner, like after the rework, was played with the obelisks and everything in LCS. The last time that was played before it came back in season 8 was by me in season 4. So like I was the first person to actually play this champion and this iteration of Skarner, the only person to actually play that on stage when it became, you know, relevant. So like the whole idea of me just being like completely ignorant to the champion and like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's like, come on, man. I play a lot of fucking Skarner too. Like I played it to qualify for fucking Worlds, like that iteration. I played it in LCS. Like I played it like in SoloQ a ton. Like I have credentials of playing the champion as well.
Right. Again, I think
I just want to point out, by the way, a lot of the commenters on YouTube, they asked for a longer episode.
that's true.
They're gonna say, never mind, go back.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, Dom
provided. And you know what people do that's so fucking sickening is if you put in the work, they try to make it like negative that you put in the work. That's like the other thing.
Yes.
Is they're like, like
and
I got
you're
so
the
many
asshole for getting bitter.
Well, it's not even getting bitter, right? Like so the whole reason why you do these things is like with good intentions, right? Like anytime you do any type of analysis in this situation, it's because you're trying to pursue knowledge, right? And then you're putting in work so that other people don't have to, and you can get a good conclusion. But then what people do is they like do this thing where they're like, "Oh, bro, like, why do you care so much about being right?" Or like, "Who the fuck asked?" It's like, well, literally, people just directly fucking asked and like took shots at my credibility because of this comment. So it's like it's so fucking annoying because you don't actually win that much from it. Besides for like now I have more solidified in my own opinion because I did the work. That's like the main benefit.
I agree.
Yeah. There we go.
It's a really weird thing. The other problem though is that the people who will then go. So you just laid out everything about Skarner, right? Mm-hmm. And you cite examples and you cite practicality and you cite, you know, counter appeal to authorities just to refute theirs and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's still going to be people that will just say that it's fine. And it's
maxing is fine.
Right. Or they'll just say that you're wrong still, and then they'll try to explain why you're wrong still. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like you just can't engage with these people. I mean, it's insufferable.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can actually like the thing you can argue is like, oh well, then like, well, he couldn't have known the exact situations that he was going to be put in, but like the argument against that is that QMax is inherently more consistent. So it's not something where it's like the only way that Emax could be more efficient is if it was like better in fights because it's worse at everything else, worse at objectives, worse at jungle clearing, all that stuff. The only thing you can talk about is the fighting. And if that's even against you, you actually have no leg to stand on.
That's right. I think someone in the chat said it best. You can't argue with stupid. And seems to happen more often than not that stupid always has some sort of opinion. All right. For the sake of everybody, max Q out there, y'all, in your solo queue game. And if pro players don't do it, then they're being less efficient. Dom's done the math and asked, and double checked it twice. Let's move on for the sake of everyone here to head on over to TL and Cloud9. That was another matchup that we got to see between two teams that we thought would tussle at the top. There's a lot of T's in terms of the standings. And TL able to pick up the win there on the final day in the final match of the week 3. Guys, thoughts here on I would say this match and also the direction that these two teams are going as we're starting to see Perkz grow in power, but this was one of the few games where it felt like he got stunted there.
I don't know. I don't know where to come down on Perkz in this game. I think he was probably their best performing member. So there's something that Crepo brought up in my co-stream that I thought was actually like a pretty valuable point. So if you can bring up like the Perkz deck quickly, we can talk about the lane phase and like how Perkz intentionally tries to like sacrifice HP to bounce the wave and like get it into like a good state for him after his TP. Now, like obviously this is saying that hey, he's going to be playing around the gank, but it's something that I hadn't considered. You know, like I was like, oh, I think Perkz is kind of just like trading poorly here. With his CP, is he actually trying to set up like this type of gank? But I mean, it ended up working, and it's something that Crepo vouched for, like a legitimate discussion that they had in G2 about playing a lot of these lane matchups. So I thought that was really interesting. If you go to this bounce right here, okay, we go forward. So he plays to bounce the wave and TP, bounces the wave, TPs. And at this point, the wave is like frozen in front of his turret and he has an HP advantage. So this is like what he's playing for. This is what he's trying to get Jensen. But Jensen, this is like a lane state that he's trying to bait Jensen into essentially. The thing is, Jensen can live here 100% if he just like stands in a better position, procs his phase rush, and walks out. But I mean, I think that this game was really hard for mid Lucian to play throughout most of it. It's like the bot lane thing that ruined the entire game, in my opinion.
No, yeah, I think I actually had this exact conversation on stream that I think it's ridiculous to intentionally trade that poorly. Like he's making so many gambles, right? Intentionally trading super poorly, committing his teleport to something that in theory Jensen and another pro player can just play correctly and not die to, right? And Perkz, if anyone asked him, would you ever die to such Lucian play, he would say no himself, right? This is like accounting for mistakes before they happen. And while you should acknowledge that mistakes are likely to happen in the game, you can't know which ones and when, right? Like it's just a given that mistakes will happen, but you can't account for which ones are going to happen. And you shouldn't pre-plan. That's just a horrible fucking way to go about playing the game. And people don't understand that when they try to like scream to the sky, human error, they're not robots. But yeah, Jensen could have lived there. Cloud9's draft was just fucking abysmal. I mean, Perkz even flamed it on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean,
that was I went into it on my stream. I did a long like mini review on how the draft is just really, really bad and sabotaging it basically every fucking step. It's just
I mean,
ridiculous.
Tom Kench is such a mega pick in this situation. Like Tom Kench is a counter to Skarner, a counter to Thresh, can build a QSS, can bail out the rest of the team. Like it's really, really crazy. But I think the point where C9 lost this game is this bot fight, right? Like Vulcan and Sven just traded really, really poorly for no reason. Then Fudge TPs in on 5 when Alfari TPs in on 6. And they're down so much HP initially that they end up just losing this fight super hard. So
I mean, if the Thresh hook hits, they win this play. Wait,
sure, yeah. I mean, if the Thresh hook hits, they win. But like the fact that they traded so much HP here, I think initially is like the biggest issue. Yeah. So I mean, if the Thresh hook hits, like Santorin instantly dies, whatever. But I mean, I think that the problem is before this because Santorin doesn't have to go this deep. I think that this is like the issue here. I think that this is the biggest issue, is this type of like for fun trade. Like trying to hook in here, like what, you got bored in lane or what? Like you're trading into this, like this is so much damage you're just taking for no reason. And this is why TL is able to set up this entire play.
Yes. Yep. I mean, another thing that's kind of weird about the hook, right, is this one. All right, here. So I'll show it. So basically, if Hecarim tries to juke right, or if he remains stationary, or he tries to go here, Gragas has him pinned. He can't get out of Gragas, right? So what Thresh should do is account for all of Hecarim's ranges. Range is like a term from poker, right? And then just only throw the hook in the one way that he could possibly ever reach Tahm Kench.
Choices.
Regardless
choices, the
of
possibility of choices is probably a
Right.
good way to
So
put it.
regardless of if Hecarim does this or not, you've accounted for all ranges of his options. And he's dead because Gragas just has him. So like, I mean, this is the same thing. This is like when you take like a wide angle on a gank because it's the only way the person can get out because like your top laner has them dead to rights. You know what I mean? Or like something like that. It's the same thing. So I mean, I feel like Vulcan misplayed this. Now, the really weird thing, and it's amazing because Double If wasn't even streaming yesterday. Fudge got blamed for all of this on Reddit, but it's not even Fudge's fucking fault.
Yeah, I mean,
Literally
he TV's
bot lane 30 seconds prior to this. And it doesn't matter that he TPs with no mana. All he needs is actually one body slam.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say he TP's early. He TP's early.
Yeah.
And Alfari TP's late, and they're in between turrets. So this is a normally like winning TP.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, everyone's public analysis of this teleport and the whole situation was just so far fucking detached from reality. It's just amazing. You can just tell that people don't play the game.
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing is also like in this game state, bot lane should be playing safe, and they should be letting their Skarner hit level 6, and the next available play should be the flashless Orianna mid. You have flash with Skarner up, like that is the angle that you want to hit. You want to flash on this Orianna mid and kill her, and you want to let bot lane just like 2v2, and then maybe off the kill mid, then you transfer it into a dragon or something like that. But like the angle is not trying to fight a bot lane 4v4 here versus Renekton and Hecarim with Skarner at level 5. That's just never the angle here.
Yep.
How broken?
I mean,
how much did it break the game here?
They're gonna lose every mid game. So this is one of those drafts where you can get the first 2 dragons, you're gonna lose third. You're always gonna lose third. You're gonna lose third, and then as soon as you lose third, you're instantly behind. It's just like the natural progression and tendency of the game. I mean, I could go into the draft like why this is so fucking now. I mean, the B1 Renekton is neutralized by Gragas, but I don't know why they pair Ashe. And then if you go through a lot of simulations, Ashe on R2 is just always losing. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The other really fucking weird thing here is no one picked or banned Seraphine. I don't know what it is with NA teams, it seems, but Seraphine Pyro is just absent, and it's very, very, very strange.
Yeah, I mean, I think Seraphine could have been good for blue here. I feel like generally speaking, if you're going with like Gragas top to neutralize or Renekton, and then you pair Seraphine as well, you end up like in kind of a weird state where you like have like no early game at all, and you're just like seeding complete prio. So I mean, that's like why I don't really like the Gragas that much here. Because it's just a lane where you're just gonna like end up not having prio and just being pushed in throughout most of the game. Like the way that Gragas essentially trades into Renekton is you take losing trades and then you have to sustain them with your passive. So
yeah,
I think I think it's kind of weird here. I mean, I think the worst pick here in this draft is the Skarner. Like you're picking Skarner into a situation where like what you want to pair with Skarner is you want to pair like strong lanes and things like that. So that you are able to like make plays on them and picks have value. But when you play it into things like Renekton, Hecarim, and a Tahm Kench, you're playing into like all these frontliners and the frontliners that can save each other and stuff like that. You don't actually have enough damage to like kill these people, and they have no threat. Like Alfari going into this game knows he can never die. Like he's just chilling. Like up until mid game, he's never gonna fucking die. So it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why they what was the thought about Seraphine on both sides here? You know, is that an NA thing, or was that just specifically in this match there was something that both teams didn't like about it?
I have no clue. I think Seraphine's the best champion in the game. So I don't understand how she's let through by everyone and then not picked. Because I mean, in theory she can go 4 lanes and like with what pro players are going to do, though, she's only ever going to go 3. She's going to go mid AD and
mid AD support. Yeah.
Yeah, but she can go top. Depends on the matchup.
Yeah, she could go top into maybe like a Gnar or something.
Yeah, she's a hyperscaler. She one-shots the wave like very early on. You know, after recalls. She starts one-shotting the wave. She has permanent move. You can't interact with her because she has too much range. She scales so hard. She pairs so well with so many different champions. She has 2 different build paths that allow her to either be utility or an AP carry. And then because you can just pick her early on and then pivot her into 3 different lanes, it's just really hard to play against her. Because she interacts with both sides of the spectrum. She can beat poke and champions that are really prone to hard engage because she amplifies hard engage, and she can also reach poke champions, but then she also completely swallows hard engage. So she's an abomination. She's just an abomination that's literally Z tier, best champion in the game, and yet the bastion of knowledge, North America, apparently can't conclude that as a region. So it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways you can set it up too in the draft where like you have like the option for it as well. Like if you really want to go Gragas as the neutralize and counter, what you could do is you could pick Jhin here, and then you could pick Skarner first 3, and then you could potentially ban Tahm Kench. Or if they do pick Tahm Kench, then you could go Seraphine support into Tahm Kench, and then you just have like a winning matchup bot lane. You don't have like an insane combo of Jhin Seraphine, but Jhin Seraphine will be able to lane into Tahm Kench like with ease, and then you just get the Seraphine scaling. So there's ways you can like set it up in draft where if they do take Tahm Kench as an answer to Skarner, then you can counter the Tahm Kench. But then like I think the problem here is that they take Thresh, which doesn't have a good lane into Tahm Kench, or like not like a super good lane into Tahm Kench by any means. And now they just have turbo value, right? Like Tahm Kench can build QSS, which is good against Arrow. It's good against Skarner. He could eat people that are Skarner ulted. So, I mean, he just has so much insane value in this game. It's actually crazy. But also team fights are just OP in North America. Like,
yes, sir.
Even like the top, and this is like actually something that we could go into, but even the top teams that are struggling with like identifying when they can fight and when they can't fight. And I think it was most evident in the TL game versus CG, where they're playing into a Gnar that is transforming Mega and a Yone. They are early game Camille Galio, and they don't have ults on Camille or Galio. They have a Nidalee compared to like a Lilia, and they're just contesting a Drake into like all the CC walking straight into it when they could easily just give the Herald. Like, even if you're winning, you're allowed to give Herald. I don't know why people have this like mentality where they feel like everything that happens has to be a fight. And it's even like a bigger picture than that. I've noticed so many times watching this season, because I've been trying to have like more attention to the side lane, where like somebody starts getting caught in a side lane, or like one team commits multiple people to kill somebody in a side lane, and somehow all 10 players just end up in that side lane. Like, how do 10 players get into like bot lane at 27 minutes? Like if one team tries to, like, the reason why it's so OP, like when Dragon's not up and stuff, to send your top laner bot lane is if they go and commit on your top laner, you can just get stuff on the other side of the map. You can get turrets, Baron, vision control on Baron. Like, there's so much stuff you can get topside jungle. People aren't willing to trade people's lives for like stuff on the map. It's literally just like one person starts dying, and then everyone just feels like the most honorable thing to do is to like try to help out their teammate. And then everyone just ends up in the fucking side lane at 25 minutes. It's crazy.
And then when they try to do it, they don't execute well. I think specifically there was one time FlyQuest with Jose Diodo over in Baron. They sent Licorice bot lane. Yeah. That was yesterday, right? That was FlyQuest Immortals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They 3 people go bot lane at 27 minutes. The enemy team has like good Baron take too, and they somehow don't get a fucking Baron done. I don't know, man. It's like, it's really, really crazy. That's something that we can pull up. It's so insane to me that this was the decision making. And Syndra uses QSS and Zanya's in front of the Skarner, and the Rel is still just bot. It's like such solo queue play. The fact that Immortals gets away with it is just murder, man. It's actually just murder. Here, we can bring it up. Okay, let me see. I think it was a little bit before this, maybe.
Go ahead. You take control of the parsec.
All right, let's see. Yep, here it is. Okay. So this is a completely illegal play by Immortals, by the way. They're sending their jungler and their support bot lane with their top laner at 27 minutes to try to kill this Gnar that has flash that isn't even killable. And they're doing this against an Aphelios, one of the best Baron taking ADs, and a Victor at level 15 that can easily do Baron. So this is like a horrific play. Like, look, they can never even kill this guy. So why are they here? And this is where Xerxes realizes, like, holy shit, they're on Baron. Also, hey, Jose Diodo, he's maxing his abilities in the right order. That's all I'm saying. So they start Baron here, right? It gets even better. So Gnar cancels the TP. So they know that GP can't teleport into this fight, right? Like they know that they're playing a straight 4v2 right now. They know it's a straight 4v2. So they can easily turn here, right? They get onto Insanity. They stun him. There's his QSS. He has no QSS. Wait for it. Oh my God, there's no Zanyas too. He can literally just pull that guy afterwards. He can look for a pull on on anyone here. It's a straight 4v3. The Rel is still bot lane fighting the Gnar. They see the Rel on the map. It is a straight 4v3. They have Aphelios. They have Victor. They have all their flashes. They can turn this into a fight. Besides for Diamond's flash, they can turn this into a fight. Pull the Syndra, one shot the Syndra, and then fight a 4v2. I mean, if they lose that at this point in the game, I don't even know what to fucking say. But the fact that they run here and they peel off the Baron is just crazy. Like this is like such bad macro that teams are getting away with. Why are you sending 3 people bot at 27 minutes and like staying there? It's too much. It's too much.
And again, I just, you've been in these situations multiple times. LS, you've coached through these situations. What could possibly be the call here? Other than, what could possibly be the call here?
I mean, I think what they're thinking is that if Ezreal and Syndra play right, then they can't actually die because they have heal, double flash, Syndra QE, phase rush, and that they're just trying to go on Gnar and then get the Infernal Dragon and then threaten Soul Point. I mean, I think Insanity fucking blunders walking as far up as he does.
But as soon as
he
walks,
literally goes to R John Sun for no reason because dopamine kick.
John Sun.
Skarner,
Okay.
What?
That's the pronunciation. John Sun. I like it.
Is it one word? I thought his name is John and then Sun. No.
No. His name is
that's
Johnson.
Cody.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. Jesus. No, but I think, I mean, if Gravity Field, I mean, yeah, stuff's just obviously weird here. I think Insanity and Reyes really misplay because with Flash and Heal, they shouldn't be able to actually be outright engaged on. But FlyQuest, I mean, everything as played by Immortals, I think is definitely weird. I understand what they're thinking though. I think you can't obviously kill the Gnar, but you can. They want to just get Infernal, right? That's their mindset, and then threaten.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to commit your Rel and your Hecarim that deep in the lane. And then the other thing is like the reason why Insanity is walking up and Raze is walking up so far is because the Baron is already at 3k at that point. Like the Baron's almost in finish range. So like. The fact that FlyQuest like half turned and then they just backed off the turn, like they straight up just like pussied out of the fight. Like they could have 100% won this fight.
And that's what I was trying to get to from LS is thinking. Thank you for explaining the Immortal side. Can you explain the FlyQuest side to me? Why is the call there in the Baron pit? Oh no, we gotta run.
Syndra stun misses. Syndra stun misses, so they're chilling.
Syndra misuses stun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then look at this. Like this. I mean, this guy can just be grabbed still. Like, are Xerxes and Raids going to 2v4 them when Victor has ulti? And Victor actually even drops it. So, like, Victor has ulti. You have Jose Diodo, who's going to instantly kill the Syndra here. And then you have an Aphelios that has flash. So, like, are you going to lose this fight 2v4 after Syndra dies? Like, I don't think so.
Like, no, I don't think you're going to lose the fight, but nothing's going to be achieved after, right? They'll just run. You won't get the Baron, that's what I mean.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, you probably force Hecarim ult, but then okay, cool. So you get the Syndra, and then you just walk over and you do drag, right? Like then you take third Drake out of it. So you do win something. Like,
all right. Well, again, just small moments like these from some of our teams that were struggling at that point. 3-5. Now we've got 1-4-5, 1-3-6 with Immortals taking the dub in this one. And it's close. It's close to maybe learning lessons here for FlyQuest and for both teams how to play this one out. But just now that we're at the halfway point here, who do you got going into the playoffs? Who's your top 6 going in the playoffs here, or is it 8?
Oh man, I mean, I guess it's literally the top 6 right now. I guess I think Dignitas will end up being like 6th though, but I think it'll be Cloud9, TL, 100 Thieves, TSM. I think that still will end up being the top 4. And then I think Dignitas and EG will be behind that. They'll probably both lose first round, and the other 4 will be out of playoffs.
I I think if TSM were playing like how they were in all the games except for yesterday, then it'll be Cloud9, then TSM, then Team Liquid, then 100 Thieves or EG, and then probably Dig. Yeah. Yeah. I can't see anyone from the bottom 4 actually managing to climb up and get into playoffs, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean,
no Immortals run here.
I mean, the one thing is Immortals is only 2 games behind Dig, so it's hard to like, and like they have shown like good moments as well. So I mean, like maybe Immortals could potentially outperform Dig. Like I don't think that Immortals is a much worse team than Dig. But yeah, I mean, FlyQuest was the team that we thought would be 6th, but they look pretty bad. I mean, I think Palafox and Diamond specifically look bad in LCS so far.
It doesn't matter. I mean, CLG is just going to go undefeated for the remaining weeks and then get playoffs.
CLG to the moon. All those CLG diamond handers out there.
By the way, what is the format for if MSI happens?
I don't think they've announced yet. If there will be an MSI. If they were going to, what I assume they would do is do a bubble. Again, kind of do another bubble situation. Where probably here in LA. Because that's where all the resources already are at.
Wow, so they're gonna bring everyone to fucking LA where it's like the worst. Holy shit! Good luck, man.
Maybe it's LA, maybe it's EU. That's true. That is true.
Well, certain countries can't travel to the United States, so it would have to. Yeah, there's region. I just don't even know. I have no idea where they would go.
I'll be honest. I never really cared about MSI either way. Like it just doesn't really matter that much to me.
Rude.
I think whichever one had the brushes. I think that was the one that was in China. So I think it was the 2016 MSI was a great presentation. I think that might have been the first year of it, or maybe it was in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
But that one to me, it was a lot of fun where the teams all had their own themes. They had their own theme song. They had like their little character. The narrator like talked through it all. That to me was super fun. That felt like cool, and the teams felt like they took it seriously. Also, conveniently, I think that was the year that CLG went and like performed well, and that was the last time they were relevant. Which one was that? But since then, it has felt like a little bit more. The G2 run, I think, was pretty cool. When G2 won as well, that one was cool. But again, it is difficult to make an international tournament have stakes when it feels like there aren't stakes other than the fact that it's an international tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it used to kind of count for how many teams you get in Worlds, right? Like,
yes.
Isn't it now like you get like 1 extra slot? Or something if you do well at MSI, because it's like your last 2 international tournaments average determines like. I thought it was.
I thought it was just if you get finals at Worlds, your region gets 4.
I thought it was like. I thought it was the overall performance of the last 2 international tournaments.
Yeah. I don't know. GG.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's not clear. Yeah.
We'll go back and find that one later. All right. Looks like things are starting to wind down just a little bit, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet. You guys asked for a longer episode. Dom went and showed his love for learning and proving people wrong into Skarner there. So we're bringing back the one, the only LS back to the main stage so that he can knock home a fan favorite. We haven't hit it as hard as we needed to in past shows this season, but we're bringing it back. It's LS and his buddy Boris for another episode of Losing to Shopkeeper. And we've got a couple of egregious purchases this week, don't we, LS?
What is this graphic, by the way?
I have no idea. Is this supposed to be Rebecca Black or like?
What the hell? How come dGon's just actually dGon, and then they photoshopped to be an LS?
I did not do this one. I promise I did not do this one.
This is.
I did not. I had
pretty weird.
Okay. All right. Continue.
They're using Nicole though.
Mean Girls, I think. That's Mean Girls, right? Yeah, it's Mean Girls.
You're pretty funny. Honestly, you're looking pretty raunchy, dGon. Holy shit! Oh my god. I'm swiping left.
All right, losing to Shopkeeper. I don't know where Boris went, but we're going shopping with LS. LS, we had a couple egregious buys.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for the graphic to show up. GG. Where is it?
Let me see.
Any day now. It's fine. I'm just get to hang out with the girls.
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
It's totally fine. Yeah.
All right, let's just pull it up. Which matches was it? I'll pull it up in Parsec that you wanted to take a look at first.
We had the last one, right? We had EG versus CLG, like towards the end of the game. That one was awful.
Let's go. EG.
Yeah.
So EG CLG at the end of the game, it was with the lots of healing and maybe one thing that possibly could have stopped that, right?
Yeah. There was tons of healing. And then there was the Immortals game actually that we just looked at, which was the Divine Blunderer on Gangplank.
Here we go. So I've got the CLG EG match up right here at 37 minutes on the Parsec that we can pull up and probably pull out the scoreboard just a bit there, and you can break down the egregious errors.
Yeah. So I mean, the insane thing here is, I mean, I think this goes forward, right? Hold on. Let me. Yeah. Okay. This is even worse, dGon. You were trying to fucking use CLG fan or what? Why are you trying to protect him? So, holy shit. So the only one is that there's a Thorn Mail on Gnar, right? No one else has Grievous Wounds. No one. Count it. 1 blood, 1 shield bow, 2 shield bow, 3 shield bow, upgraded by Ornn. Bloodthirster, Mercurial Scimitar, Fleet Footwork, and Conqueror. Now I know that these two are less valuable, right? And then you even have Alistar Seal if you want to throw that one in there too. There's no anti-healing. None.
So you're saying that you want them to build Morellos? Is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that LS wants Morellos.
Oh no! I think this game, because the enemy team has so much mobility and mobility is so valuable, Sven should have had it should have been Moonstone or it should have been Moonstaff Lilia with Chemtech Putrefier to give it out, the 60% Grievous one, that buff that came in to the item. I really don't like Leandri Demonic Embrace in this game. I think movement speed is way too insane versus that enemy team composition. And Gnar has big AP ratios. Azir has big AP ratios. If he builds Nashor's Tooth, then he also has he has AP ratio on Nashor's. Death Cap gets extra amplification. AP ratio Galio, AP ratio Kaisa, in the MS, it's just invaluable, and then Chemtech is going to be way too good. So I think that's another one that's like a minuscule highlight.
Yeah, I mean that this one's like pretty fucking bad. I mean, the thing is they made it so much easier to get healing reduction too. So that's why I don't understand about it. You don't want the 60%. You can literally just sit on an Oblivion Orb for Lilia, or sit on an Oblivion Orb, or you can sit on a Executioner's Calling. You can still buy these items. So to me, I just don't understand why people how much easier do they need to make it to get healing reduction? People have this idea where there's too much healing in the game, so it's not even worth reducing it, but it just doesn't make any sense.
Scimitar doesn't give lifesteal anymore. Coach, by the way.
Yep.
Don't mind me.
Yeah, I mean, 3 shield bows also do. Also, I just hate this idea. I've seen it from Golden Guardians too. I hate early drafting Graves if you're not a team that has super, super good macro or a defined 2v2 mid jungle synergy where people aren't used to because Graves is not actually good at a lot of the things jungles do. I'd say Graves' biggest strength is the ability to wave clear and push waves. So you can do a lot of plays you go through mid, you queue the wave, and then you and your mid laner go and accomplish something on the map, or you get prio in your lane so that you're able to invade and contest camps. Those are the plays that we see Graves making a lot of the time in better regions. But if you're on a bottom team like CLG, Golden Guardians, it's so hard to actually win the game like that compared to just drafting things like Hecarim, drafting things like Skarner, drafting champions like Rel, Alistar, whatever, with either of those, and then just setting up some form of valuable CC on a target, and then you just kill them. So yeah, I mean, I think that I think that that's like the biggest issue with these types of drafts is like you don't set your own jungler up for success. You're playing to such a hard win con. It's like these teams that perma run like 1-3-1 comps with Ryze when they literally don't know how to play side lane. It doesn't make any sense.
But it's Brox's champion, so leave him alone.
That is what he does.
Okay, my bad. My bad. I'm just surprised he didn't save the team. I heard that when Bjergson was coming, CLG. Well, I think he didn't have enough time. So I think next week CLG will be a lot better because they will have had like a full week with their roster to practice and stuff.
It was funny to hear in their game, in their game because they played EG. That was the final game. Freak was trying to set it up because that's what you have to do as a caster to at least give hope. He was like, CLG only 4 games out, and there's half the season is already done. So if they want to catch up, you got to start winning games now. Only 4 games, could possibly get them into playoffs. And it was like, oh, geez, like maybe Dom, maybe they can pull off 2 here.
All right, let's see it. Let's see it.
I like that response.
I don't know, man. I literally don't know. I have no faith in like any of these teams. Like I really have no faith. Like right now, I don't have any faith in like anyone outside of C9, TSM, TL, and maybe 100 Thieves. I don't think that there's like a chance that any of the other teams end up in top 4, but who knows? Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe 100 Thieves falls off a cliff.
I was thinking about this. At what point do we trust Dignitas being the top team in NA? Is it like making the playoffs? Is it making it to finals?
It's what they do in the game. Like that's like literally the biggest point that people are missing. It's like they don't know how to win even games, right? Every single time that so if you look at the good wins they have 2 wins that are good, and then they've lost to like everyone else really hard. The 2 wins that are good were TSM and EG. Those are their 2 good wins. When they played those teams, both games were massively thrown by TSM. Like TSM starts hitting a Baron, and then they just walk to the Baron. They get the 50-50 smite steal, and then they end up winning the fight. What do they do when the enemy team doesn't do an unforced error? How do they force errors? What do they manipulate the enemy team into doing? By controlling vision, by playing around the objective, by pushing in the side lanes and moving. Like, when are they actually doing something that affects what the enemy team does? It seems like they're just a team that has like decent mechanical players that will like see a fight, be like, oh, I think like the enemy team's into here, let's fight it. But when that's not given to them, how do they actually create their own advantages in the game, right? We see C9, TL create advantages in the game when they win. Like they're able to like do something. And more than that, they're able to execute on draft strategies going into the game, even if they end up losing the games because they like throw sometimes. A team like TL is able to like figure out, okay, this is like what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to take like Ignite top side. We're going to play towards top. Okay, we're going to play through our Camille, get him a lead. And like those types of games that you play, when you lose them, I feel like you can take a lot more out of than these wins from Dignitas. Like I don't think that if Dignitas played a best of 5 against TSM right now, today, they would win that best of 5, even though they beat TSM yesterday. The EG game was the same way, where Dignitas ends up winning based off like EG, like Jizuke just straight up ran it down mid twice.
4v6.
Oh. It was 4v6, but then also like the enemy team just threw the game over like a Wraith fight at like level 9. Like sure, you can punish enemy teams for doing stupid stuff, but that's not a consistent way to win games when in general people get less and less stupid as time goes on.
Yep.
It's NA though. And I feel
but NA is not actually that bad where this will consist. Like we've never had a team like Dignitas actually make a good run in NA. Every team like Dignitas historically always falls off because people do actually get better to the point where they're not inting. Like there is going to be issues, right? With NA where we're going to have like, flaws in these top teams. Like people aren't going to be playing the side waves correctly. People are going to be overcommitting. There's too much grouping at points in the game. Like those are the things that are going to remain consistent. And those are the things that really good teams internationally are going to exploit. But when it comes to like what's happening in the actual games right now, the windows are not going to be as fucking huge to come back into these games as Dignitas is getting right now. Like theoretically in that game that they just played versus TSM, after they botch that first fight around Dragon and they lose lane with Kalista, or like they get double killed in lane with Kalista, their win condition is completely gone. Like they don't have the Dragon win condition. The Corki is just scaling for free. The Corki is going to be like super relevant in the game. They don't have the ability to really pressure side lane versus the Lulu. So whenever Lulu groups into a fight, once people have QSSs, it's going to be impossible to play the game. Like I'm completely confident in a player like PoE being able to actually not do the Blaze Olive and actually carrying if he's given the resources. Like a late game team fight, when PoE has items, a QSS, a Lulu buffing him, he's going to be able to carry these games. But I don't see like Dignitas being able to like win if that actually happens.
Did you just call it doing the Ablaze Hollow?
Yeah, that was like, dude, he had Elder, Infernal Soul, Baron, and he's like still afraid to walk up on Tristana with a GA and a Janna on his team.
I think to leave him alone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's a rookie. I mean, he's been in like academy for like 6 years, but I guess he's a rookie to LCS stage, so that means he's a rookie.
Yes, correct.
Hi did go in on that on the broadcast. They pulled up the damage charts, and I was like, "How are you not dealing the most damage? What more do you need?" But I will say that Golden Guardians got to win. They'll take them however they can, and Arrow will continue to coach up the boys, the developmental roster, as it was constantly referred to on the broadcast. It's like, you're in the LCS, dog. Your developmental roster is the academy roster, and so Golden Guardians and Ablaze Olive and the rest of them will look to get wins and hopefully get smarter, as Dom predicted all teams do, and maybe be able to pull a game off of Dignitas as they go into the second half of the year. All right. That's all that we had. Anything else that you guys wanted to close off with before we sign off for the day?
Nope, not really.
Maxi on Skarner.
Yeah, Maxi on Skarner. That's what the math shows. It's
Maxi
really
on
relevant.
Skarner and at IWillDominate on Twitter. I think is probably the play to do.
Especially if you're playing against an Olaf that can't be CC'd and a Samira that can block your E. If you're in that case, Maxi on that champion.
You actually dumb idiot. You max E so that after Ragnarok fades, your E is up again so you can stun him. Moron.
True.
Yeah, you're maxing E to bait it out.
You know what somebody said? Somebody was like, you max E so that you can do like the E ulti E combo, which is like a thing you can do where you E and then you like wait until like a couple seconds pass, then you ulti, auto proc to proc the E, then E and then auto proc again. Go back in all these Skarner games that have been played, and tell me one time where somebody actually gets that combo off. It just doesn't happen. Because, dude, with Phase Rush, man, you literally have the ability to drag a motherfucker all the way into your team. They're dead already.
Dude, I don't know why you just did that. You know Mr. Prater's on the case. He'll see you on Reddit. He'll see you on Reddit in a few days.
Oh man, whatever. We'll see. I probably won't be going this hard to defend my opinions in the future. It's just too much work. But you know, we'll see. Maybe if the YouTube video on my clips channel from that shit ends up doing well, we'll see.
Again, it was cool to be able to see it. It was kind of like last year when Broxa wasn't here, right? Broxa hadn't come yet, and TL was hurting for a jungler. There was a little bit of hype around possibly having you go back to the jungle. I was like, oh, maybe we get to see him prove it. Maybe we get to see him do it. Well, here it is. We get a little bit of that again. Look, just with 5 hours of work proves now the conversation's over and dead. So can't wait for the next one. Just like I hope that you all at home can't wait for the next one. If you missed any portion of this, head on over to VENN Esports. You can catch the latest episode of Facecheck, still scaling, and much more over there. It's at, I guess, VENN Esports, Twitter and YouTube channel. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Half of the spring split in the books. The second half will happen next weekend, and we'll be right here to break down all the action on Facecheck. Have a great week, everybody.
Hey, thanks for watching VENN Esports. I think there's someone in here. But make sure to hit that subscribe button below and to go to our other videos, because I might not make it out of here. I might not make it out of here alive. Ah!